recruits coming into college basketball this year, a surefire lottery pick in the NBA draft prior to next season. Jay, what do you like about Evan Mobley?
Well, in a word, Dan, everything. Evan Mobley is one of the most versatile 7-footers you're going to see. He can pass it. He's very, very skilled, so he can step away and shoot. He's not a three-point shooter. He can make a three, but not a three-point shooter. But he's a guy that goes down into the post. He's an excellent offensive rebounder. He's been getting doubled a lot lately. Colorado doubled him. Utah doubled him. He's got to handle those a little bit better and make quicker decisions, either pass out or make a really quick
The
move.
Officials tonight in Tucson, John Higgins, Eric Curry, Mike Cyphers, and they are underway. USC 1-1 in league play. They had a 3-week pause. COVID issues. Arizona 3-1 in league play, and this looks like it'll be an outstanding game. Evan Mobley, number 4, the two Mobley brothers both in the starting lineup. The miss there by Isaiah White, and back in transition. Now comes Arizona, and as Jay mentioned, keep an eye on their guards. They've got some good ones. And a block of the baseline, but no, it'll be a foul call going against Evan Mobley as he tried to block that shot of Azuolas Tubelis.
Yeah, Tubelis is a left-hander, so along the baseline, Mobley just caught his hand as he was going up and picked up his first foul. And Mobley, I think you heard John Crispin talk about him having to be a little bit more assertive. He's averaging 15 points a game, and he's in the top 5 in the Pac-12 in rebounding, field goal percentage, blocks. But he hasn't had good games his last 2. He only had 3 points and 5 rebounds against Utah in a USC win. But he just didn't get the ball very much. He wasn't as active as he needs to be, and he got doubled every time he touched it.
Tubelis, the freshman from Lithuania, will make them both. Both teams with a lot of turnover from last year. USC's got a lot of transfers right now. Keep an eye on Drew Peterson, a transfer from Rice, a couple of good years there, and he does a little bit of everything for the Trojans. And that's a tie-up. That's a big league tie-up right there, and it'll go back over to the Wildcats.
One of the things, you step into McHale, USC is going to have to accept the physical challenge that goes along with playing Arizona. And Arizona had some difficulty with that the first few minutes when they played against Stanford. Similar thing when they were on the road to Santa Cruz to take on Stanford.
And both teams a little sluggish out of the gate offensively. These two teams were picked 5th and 6th in the Pac-12 prior to the season. As you look at Sean Miller, the head coach of Arizona. Arizona was picked 5th. USC was picked 6th. I think, Jay, that they think, both of these teams think, when it's all said and done, they've got a chance to finish higher, maybe considerably higher than that in the league.
Well, I think both of them are talented enough to think they can win the league. Arizona's just a bit younger, but as you said, there are a lot of new pieces for both teams. And USC's had some issues with COVID where they were shut down for a good period of time, and they're just getting back to where they're getting some continuity and practicing every day again.
Yep. James Akinjo, the transfer from Georgetown, off to Tubelis, who knocks down an 18-footer, and he's got all 4 in the early going for the Cats.
But Tubelis has been really good over his last 5 games, averaging 10 points, 7.5 rebounds over that period, and had 12 points and 9 rebounds against Washington State. He did not hesitate for 1 second taking that shot.
He was coming off the bench earlier in the season, has moved into the starting lineup recently in place of Christian Koloko, who we will see a little bit later off the bench. Boy, Jamal Baker was hollering for the ball there.
Yeah, just that last rebound by Tubelis. He could rip and go, then he comes down and gets really good position and just turns right to that left hand and kisses it off the glass. Arizona's gotten off to a great start, and Tubelis has been good on both ends of the floor.
He's got all 6 points in this game so far. A great start for Arizona. Now White inside, triple teamed, and draws the foul. Sean Miller in his 12th season as the head coach of the Wildcats. 3 Elite Eights at Arizona, and again, a lot of turnover on this team. About 80% of the points they've scored this year come from players who were not with them last year. And like a lot of teams, still trying to get a rhythm and find out exactly what kind of a team they've got. 9-1 on the season. The only loss was by 3 to Stanford.
And that Stanford game, Stanford played really well in that ball game, and Arizona got off to a little bit of a slow start. But Jamal Baker was just so good in that game. He wound up with 29 points. He had 8 threes. And Arizona had a chance to win that. It was a questionable charge call on James Akinjo at the end of that ball game. But just having a chance to win meant that Arizona played really well in the second half, I thought.
You look at Arizona's offensive numbers, there's no question coming into the game tonight, the Wildcats the better offensive team. USC right now with their tremendous length at so many positions, the better defensive team so far this year. So we'll see how that battle plays out. And speaking of rip and go, that's what Drew Peterson can do. He's a wing guy, but he can be a point guard, a handler, a distributor, the whole thing. And there's White from the corner. Isaiah White, the grad transfer from Utah Valley, with the first made field goal of the night for USC.
White has got a great motor, runs the floor, good rebounder, and a really good cutter. Boy, Tubelis is really active, setting screens and posting up. He's really moving Evan Mobley all over the floor.
When he passed up an 18-footer and then eventually took kind of like an 11-foot floater that he left a little bit short. The first shot might have been the better one for him. Isaiah Mobley, the older of the two Mobley brothers. He's a sophomore, misses the jump hook.
Well, that was really good defense by Jordan Brown, just making Mobley shoot over him, not giving him an angle to the basket. That was really solid.
Akinjo scoops it up with the left hand, won't go, but there's Tubelis active again, and he's headed back to the free throw line.
Just wedged Isaiah Mobley just underneath, got a great angle, and that's where Arizona's so good, is on the offensive glass. They average close to 14 offensive rebounds a game. That's tops in the Pac-12 and one of the best offensive rebound rates in the country.
And Tubelis having a field day back at the line. Each of the Mobleys, Evan and Isaiah, has picked up a foul in the first 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And it'll be Isaiah, number 3, who is going to the bench right now for Andy Enfield, who is in his 8th season as the head coach at USC after a couple of years at Florida Gulf Coast. And he told us earlier today in the Zoom call that we had with him, he just loves his team. Now, they're still getting to know each other. There were all kinds of protocols in place in California, of course, and they could only hold individual workouts in the late summer and early fall. They've got transfers. They've got freshmen. But he likes what he's got. And he thinks they've got a chance to be a really good team. And as you look at some of their defensive numbers, defensively, Jay, they're already a really good team.
Well, they've got great length. So they can bother passes, they can bother shots, they can block a lot of shots. And because they block so many shots, I think they're actually a little bit susceptible to shot fakes. And I think Arizona's got a great opportunity to use shot fakes, pass fakes, get them off the floor, and then make their moves.
Evan Mobley at the line knocks down the first. The 7-foot freshman from Murrieta, California, as Coloco comes into the game for the first time for Arizona. And as we discovered pregame, Murrieta is believed to be the only municipality in California, Jay, where you did not play basketball at any point during your lifetime.
Yeah, I didn't know it was near Temecula. I'd not even heard of Murrieta. I grew up in Southern California and played. I thought I played in every gym, but I didn't play in Murrieta.
Maybe they didn't have a gym back when you were playing, Jay. I mean, you're no spring chicken anymore.
It could be, yeah, the peach basket.
Well, USC found the Mobleys, and aren't they glad they did? Their dad, by the way, Eric, is on the coaching staff. As we have a foul committed by Benedict Mathurin to take us to break. Azuolas Tubelis is the early story in this game, getting it done for Arizona. He had the first 6 of the night for the Cats. Both of these programs, let's look at Arizona. James Akinjo, a transfer, is now the lead guard for Arizona this year. Jordan Brown, a former McDonald's All-American who spent a year at Nevada. He transferred. And Terrell Brown Jr., a grad transfer from Seattle University who has been terrific in the backcourt. A really nice backcourt rotation for Akinjo, Brown, and Jamal Baker, who's also a transfer, but he played here last year, played in Tucson last year after spending a couple of years at Kentucky. But this is something we're going to talk about more and more year by year in the college game. And these are some of the best players that Arizona has right now.
Yeah, and Terrell Brown Jr. is a great story. One, his assist-to-turnover ratio is ridiculous. He's got 33 assists coming into this game, only 5 turnovers. That's about 6.5 to 1. but he started in junior college, and then he was a walk-on at Seattle U. And his last year there wound up averaging over 20 points, 6 rebounds, close to 5 assists. Really good defender. He can drive it. Does a lot of really good things out there and doesn't need the ball to play.
Mobley with the turnaround, a little bit strong, won't go, and back come the Cats in transition.
They are really sitting on that initial move by Mobley. He spins every time, and he's spinning into traffic.
Where do you think his best spot on the floor is to look for his offense?
Well, I think elbow and block for him if he gets it in the middle of the floor. But he needs to play lower. Like every time he posts up, he winds up getting pushed off his spot. He's being guarded by Ira Lee, and he wound up going out to the three-point line instead of just on a baseline drive, kind of getting to the front of the rim, moving up the lane, things like that. He's not got a consistent go-to move right now or spot on the floor that he can consistently rely upon, and he's going to get that, but I think he's got to get stronger, one, because he's so athletic.
And a foul on Peterson on the perimeter as Terrell Brown Jr. got him in the air.
And there's an example, Dan, of the shot fake that I was talking about. I think if you use shot fakes, you're going to see USC's defenders leaving the floor, and they like to block shots. I don't think Peterson is much of a shot blocker, but he was closing out and wound up leaving the floor instead of closing out under control. But quick shot fake, and you're going to get anything you want.
So Brown to the line, a guy who averaged better than 20 points and 5 assists per game last year at Seattle University, and had himself a nice moment on Saturday in the game against Washington State. He banked in a 3 in overtime to break the tie and help seal the deal for Arizona.
His last 3 games, he's been very good. He's averaging over 12 points his last 3, shooting just under 60% from the field over that period. So he's taking good shots, and we talked about his defense. He's a really good piece for this Arizona team.
And we believe right now they are reviewing to see if Brown was behind the line or not. This is usually the kind of thing they look at before you start the free throws. He's already taken 2, so they're having a look right now to see if the field goal attempt was a 2 or a 3. There was a foul, so that would determine how many free throws he gets. And clearly inside the line. So.
Yeah, the referees usually know that, but what could have happened is they made the call, and then the coach asked them to review it, and they'll oftentimes do that. But he definitely had a foot on that line.
Yeah. So this should be a pretty quick one, and he's already made 2, so that should be it, and it just should be USC ball. Already tonight of the Pac-12, Colorado with another nice game from McKinley Wright. They defeated Oregon, and coming up a little bit later on tonight on ESPN, Dave Pasch, Bill Walton will have UCLA and Arizona State for you. So a busy night of the Pac-12.
Well, McKinley Wright was terrific in that game against Oregon. I think he had 21. I watched that game. I think he had 21 points, 10 rebounds, several assists. He was just in control of what was going on for the Buffs. That was a really good win because they got pressed all game long by Oregon.
And an errant pass. Joshua Morgan, number 24 for USC. A sophomore, a transfer from Long Beach State who has played sparingly. A guy whose original intent may have been to redshirt. But, Jay, it's a free year for everybody, so you don't really have to worry about that. And just another guy with length for USC, but he just got beat down on the post.
Well, some little cross-screen action. Arizona likes to do these little on big cross screens where a guard sets a cross screen low for a big guy, and you have to switch it, and that can give you a really good matchup. And Koloko was just wide open.
Peterson, a guy who can pass. He can also really shoot it from outside. A little bit strong on that turnaround jumper, and it's Arizona ball again. Here comes Akinjo.
Akinjo's so good with the ball. He's so low with that dribble.
Ira Lee, the senior, kicks it back out. Lee, a real energy guy, good defender. Akinjo keeping the dribble alive, but can't finish it. And here's what Peterson loves to do. As we said, he can get the rebound. He can lead you up the floor. He can initiate the offense, but they don't get a bucket out of it.
Pretty good transition defense by Arizona. Arizona's made USC go through their chest on just about every possession. There's been nothing easy for the Trojans thus far.
Lee misses the jumper. With the rebound and a foul will send Benedict Mathurin to the line for Arizona. These Big 12 matchups are going to start a stellar college basketball Saturday. How about Texas? The Shaka Smarts team all the way up to 4th in the rankings right now. They will be in Morgantown to take on West Virginia. That's at 1 Eastern, noon Central. And then right after that, second-ranked and undefeated Baylor will be in Fort Worth to take on TCU. A great doubleheader of Big 12 action Saturday on ESPN.
Well, as good of a job as Texas has done this year, and their big guys have been very good. Jericho Sims was so good when we were there or we were doing their Kansas game. We weren't there. We were from remote, but their big guys have been great. But I still think that Gonzaga and Baylor are on their own tier, and everybody else is one tier below. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. And Gonzaga, by the way, is up 22 on BYU right now. They got out to a 23-2 lead on BYU in that game. They're up 48-26. I'm with you. I mean, Gonzaga's a spectacular offensive team. Baylor's really good offensively, and they bring some great defensive chops to the game as well. I mean, that's a game we were hoping to see a few weeks ago, and COVID intervened. I don't know if we'll get a chance to see it later on in the season, but sure would love to.
Yeah, my guess is we'll be seeing it in Indianapolis.
Yes. And it won't be in March. It would be in April if
exactly.
Yeah. Jordan Brown, that's his go-to move. Loves to get to the jump hook with the right hand, and he drops it in as the lead grows for Arizona. And Andy Enfield wants a timeout. 9-point lead in the early going for the Wildcats in Tucson. Dive into baseball for just a moment, Jay. This is the fighting Aaron Boone's against the fighting Terry Francona's. That's the matchup that we have tonight. Mr. Boone, a former Trojan, Mr. Francona, a former Wildcat. I have evidence that one of them is watching. I cannot confirm that the other one is right now.
So clearly Tito just texted you saying, get my name on the broadcast.
You've seen this movie before, have you? Boy, it seems like decades ago when we were down in Tucson to do a game. And, of course, Tito was at the game. And we went out and were regaled by his stories at dinner time before the night before the game. So
went out for dinner at an Italian restaurant. We saw the great Lute Olson there. And the next day when we showed Tito Francona in the crowd, he was wearing the exact same clothes that he wore the night before.
Yeah. That's true. Tito, I still love you. Even though, I mean, Jay's beating you up pretty badly right now, but just know I love you. Well, let's see what USC can do to get untracked offensively. Evan Mobley, who picked up an early foul, is back in the game. USC is 1 for 9 with 4 turnovers as Mobley goes hard to the basket, and he does draw the foul.
And that was a really good move by Mobley. A little bit of a defensive error by Arizona. Dalen Terry went for the steal and wound up getting out of position instead of staying between Mobley and the basket. That gave him that lane down. Watch Terry right here. See, he goes for that. Now all of a sudden he's out of position. And then that's going to put Tubelis in a bad spot to have to foul in order to stop him. And it sounds like a simple thing, but if you're going to go for a steal there, you got to get it. Otherwise, you're giving up something easy.
So the foul on Tubelis, his first. And we've got on our stats monitor, we've got Jordan Brown with 2, number 21 in white for Arizona, but he is still on the floor right now as Mobley knocks down both. Mobley just a 60% free throw shooter on the season, but he knocked both of these down.
There's that cross screen. They just got the ball too quickly to Brown. He was right under the basket, but Jordan Brown is getting better and better. He's the highest ranked recruit that the University of Nevada ever had. McDonald's All-American, played for Eric Musselman with Jordan Caroline and the Martin twins.
And there's Drew Peterson knocking down the mid-range jumper. The Rice transfer averaging 10.5 points per game on the season.
A lot of good players have transferred out of Rice recently, and no reason I know of why, but Trey Murphy at Virginia transferred out as well. Those are 2 really good players.
Jamal Baker misses the three. Baker's a 38% shooter from three-point range this season. The former Kentucky Wildcat. He's made 24 threes this year. Jay talked about his game against Stanford. 15 of his 24 threes have come in 2 games this year as Isaiah Mobley knocks one down, drives to the basket and scores, and all of a sudden USC is back within 3, and here comes Peterson.
Yeah, 6-0 run out of that timeout, and USC's been a little bit tougher running their offense and trying to get what they want. Just a bad pass by Bauman.
Yeah, Noah Bauman, a sharpshooter off the bench, San Jose State transfer, and look at Tubelis flying down the middle of the court in transition.
And just picked apart. No pressure on the pass at all. But what a great job by Tubelis running the floor. He's got game, man. The lefty from Lithuania is really good now, and he's going to get even better.
Ooh, and Mr. Billis with some early alliteration tonight here in the game from Tucson. Nicely done.
A lot of alliteration from anxious analysts placed in powerful posts.
Tajidi with a 3 at the other end, and USC within 2. We talk about driving into traffic, but Tubelis is on the glass, and again, Arizona, one of the best rebounding teams in basketball. They are dominating on the offensive glass early in this game, specifically Tubelis, and they've got a 4-point lead.
Bear down. When you down the ball screen and let it get to the basket, you better block out. A terrific job in transition. Dalen Terry going to Tubelis.
For Arizona over USC, and a technical foul assessed to USC head coach Andy Enfield. So there will be free throws coming for the Wildcats, and he obviously didn't like some call, or maybe more accurately a non-call, possibly with Arizona doing so much work on the offensive glass in the first 10 minutes of this game, Jay.
Yeah, he probably thought that Tubelis went over the back. I didn't think he did. I thought he just reached up with that left hand and was able to tip the ball in. But you got to get a body on Arizona on every shot, and you can't wait for them to come to you or turn and think you're going to jump for the ball. You got to lay a body on somebody and then go.
Jamal Baker at the line for Arizona for the technical free throws. An 86% free throw shooter on the season, but he misses the first. Arizona's got 4 offensive rebounds for 5 second chance points in the first 10 minutes of this game.
And in a game where it's really difficult to score in 5-on-5 when you're going against a half-court defense, I mean, those are huge extra possessions. And it's something everybody knew coming in, that the glass was going to be a big part of this game. But if you don't turn and block out, and the guards have to rebound as well. It's not just the big guys. All 5 guys have to get to the defensive glass.
Terrell Brown Jr. with a foul about 40 feet from the basket. One player we should mention who is not playing tonight for USC is Ethan Anderson, a really talented sophomore guard from Los Angeles. So they're down one of their primary ball handlers, and Andy Enfield, they're having to improvise a little bit in the backcourt. Anderson's out with some back issues. As you get a look at him there, he's missed the last 5 games, not playing tonight. Maybe could be back on Saturday for their game against Arizona State, but failing that, they hope to have him back by next week.
Yeah, Anderson went to Fairfax High School in LA, and he's the best creator that USC has with the ball, and he's also the best on-ball defender. You know, he guarded McKinley Wright, and I think the big guys get affected by not having him there, because they're not getting the ball in the spots that they would normally get it if he were running the point.
Tajidi, who's doing a lot of the point work right now, he's more of a combo guard, a scorer, and you'll also see both Drew Peterson and Noah Bauman handling at times. And you know what? For a 7-footer, Evan Mobley's got a great handle too. You can do some stuff with him as well.
Yeah, they've got guys that can handle the ball and initiate, but they're not natural point guards like Anderson is. Right. And really good job by Isaiah Mobley there on the drive. Just took his time, and he was given an angle to the basket. You can't allow that, otherwise he's going to tear you apart.
Yeah, Mobley overshadowed a little bit at times by his younger brother Evan, but Isaiah, terrific player, McDonald's All-American as well, a year older than Evan. Isaiah's a sophomore, and all of his numbers are up from his freshman season. Keep an eye on Bauman. He can really shoot it. Mobley will shoot the occasional 3. Bauman misses just after we sung his praises. He misses wide right on the three. And Arizona hustling the ball down the court. And an offensive foul there called on Jamal Baker.
That was a really nice job by Max Agbankpolo, who did a good job of closing out. I mean, one thing you can't do with Jamal Baker is let him shoot it from the catch spot. If he lands in the same spot, he catches it. But watch how Agbankpolo gets out there and forced him to put the ball on the deck. He wound up getting an offensive foul and a little push off. But you make him put the ball on the floor. He can still score, but he's not as effective as if he can catch and shoot.
And Jay, the second foul on Baker. He's gone to the bench. Mobley with a strong move inside. Counted and a foul.
You have to expect when he goes right, he's going to spin back to his left. And Koloko allowed him to go to the right once he caught it. Faces up, and then he drove right. But you know he's going to spin back, so you can't over pursue there. It's a difficult thing to guard. And Koloko didn't do a bad job, but he needs to do a better job to keep him from spinning back.
The first field goal of the night for Mobley. He knocks down the free throw. He's 5 for 5 from the line, so he's got 7 points in the game. And USC, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, they're playing with a lot more energy after that timeout. I mean, they were down and not looking particularly good, but they played with a ton more energy.
There's been an 11-point swing in this game already. Arizona was up by as many as 9. Bauman. And this time it's true, and the Trojans lead is now 5, and now it's Sean Miller who wants a timeout.
Boy, what great poise by Isaiah Mobley in the post. He waited for the double team to come off Bauman and then just fired a pass so that Bauman could get that catch and shoot opportunity. Just a great pass by Mobley.
I'll tell you, Jay, the lefty from Lithuania, poise in the post. You are hot early tonight, my friend. Early, it's been all USC, though, lately, and the Mobley brothers, Isaiah and Evan, Jay, both have been doing their share.
Isaiah Mobley's had a couple of really nice drives, and then his younger brother, Evan, has done a terrific job of getting to the free throw line. He's 5 of 5 from the free throw line in this ball game, 7 points. Remember, he's coming off a guy who averages 15 a game, 15 points. He's coming off a game against Utah where he didn't take a shot. Right. He got to the free throw line a few times. He only scored 3 points in that game. Well, 2-3 zone now for USC out of the timeout.
And Akinjo with a 3, doesn't go. He gets it back, tries again, doesn't go again. And a foul on the floor, and everybody's looking around to try to figure out who it's on, and it looks like it's on Isaiah Mobley. That'll be his second.
Yeah, unless it was at another spot than I was looking. I didn't see that. It just looked like rebounding.
So number 2 on Isaiah Mobley. And a 1-and-1 opportunity coming up here for Arizona. And Mobley's still looking for an explanation. And that's going to take him out of the game. Koloko misses the front end, and down with the rebound, Max Agbankpolo, a 6'9" sophomore from Laguna Niguel. USC just has length after length after length. They got 6'7", 6'9", 6'11". They are one of the tallest teams in the country.
Take a look at this here. Oh, there it is. It's a hook and hold. They got him on the hook and hold.
Yeah.
Remember what a big deal that was last year?
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow. Every time we went to the monitor, every time there was a hook and hold. And thankfully, we've gotten away from that.
And they still have the option, right, to go to the monitor if they want to upgrade it to a flagrant one from a common foul, but we don't see it nearly as often as we did.
But last year it was an automatic. I mean, they went to the monitor, hook and hold, it's an automatic flagrant. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I'm glad they've adjusted that. That put way too much pressure on the officials, and it was frankly just stupid.
Boy, does Akinjo do a nice job keeping his dribble alive in traffic.
He's a really good penetrator. I like how low he plays. It's so hard to stay in front of him because he gets so low. It's like trying to guard a fire hydrant.
And the 3 for Benedict Mathurin, the 6'7" freshman from Montreal, who is coming off a terrific game for Arizona. Had 24 points and 11 rebounds against Washington State. Was named the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week.
He had a good game against Washington as well. He's a real X factor for this team. He's long, athletic, plays the wing.
Boy, Evan Mobley shakes his defender, left it a little bit short, and Arizona down with a rebound. Terrell Brown Jr.
Brown just wrestled that away from Chavez Goodwin. Goodwin had that ball, and Brown just took it away from him. Boy, Goodwin does such a good job of running the floor, getting that early post. He can really clear out some space where you can take advantage of it coming right behind him.
He's another transfer, spent the last couple of years at Wofford.
He played for Mike Young there. Now at Virginia Tech.
And Tubelis got himself in trouble. Got in the air under the basket and threw it away. Picked off by Bauman. Edey with a floater that goes, and it's now a 4-point lead, USC.
Taj Edey, another transfer. He was at Santa Clara, and he can really shoot it. Dan, that turnover that Tubelis had on the last possession, that's good, really good post up by Tubelis. Well, he did a great job of getting an angle there and posted so hard. And when the ball went down to the baseline, that just gave a beautiful angle for that little bounce pass. That was a big time play. But that turnover you had before where guys are jumping out of bounds to make that pass, so a lot of times it goes over the baseline. Defenses are catching up on that. You got to be a lot more careful doing that.
That bucket by Tubelis gives him 13 points, and for the freshman, that ties a season high. And now Chavez Goodwin called for the foul.
Watch Julius Tubelis here, the freshman from Lithuania. Does a great job of getting position. Look how high up he posts, and Goodwin on the high side. And what a fantastic dribble by Brown along the baseline to give him that angle, little bounce pass. That is just textbook, just beautiful.
And another review. Again, Jay and I got at the arena, so as soon as we get the information about what it is, we will let you know. There was a foul away from the ball on Chavez Goodwin. That was the last whistle, but not sure if that has anything to do with what they're looking at right now.
Take a look here. Yeah, it was Chavez Goodwin just stuck his tail out to get James Akinjo as he's trying to come around. They called a foul. I don't see that as being flagrant, but now maybe there was something. Maybe that wasn't the problem. Maybe there's something else where he grabbed somebody, but that doesn't look flagrant. That's just a common foul.
Yeah, and that's what they've decided.
Louis Carnesecchi used to call that a subway push. That was just a subway push.
Hey, Jay, while we have a chance, this is something I wanted to ask you. The University of Arizona announced recently that they have self-imposed a postseason ban for this year. So this team, they found out the morning after their win over Colorado that they are not eligible for postseason play beyond the conference tournament. Your thoughts on that decision by Arizona, and maybe the premise in general of teams self-imposing bans before the NCAA makes its decision?
Well, it's similar to what Auburn did, and I think it was in part in response to the punishment that Oklahoma State got, hoping that that might be it, or at least it gets you some better treatment or leniency. I heard a colleague recently say it's like a plea bargain, which it's not, because a plea bargain, you agree with the prosecutor on what the sentence is, and you plead guilty. That's not what's happening here. And so I don't like the practice. I don't think it does any good. And I think it's just kind of a sacrifice on the altar of the NCAA. If you're going to fight it, fight it. If you're not, then don't. But I'm not a big fan of it. It's not Arizona. It's just anybody. It seems like it's useless. Like, they're eligible for the postseason. They said we're not playing. Right. So Arizona took themselves out of it and said, here you go, NCAA. Look what we're doing. And so when you decide our case, factor that in. I don't think it's going to work particularly well in this one. It certainly didn't. Oklahoma State didn't get great treatment from the NCAA, and I'm not sure we're going to see anybody that got caught up in that get treated well. Or leniently. I shouldn't say treated well. Get treated with any leniency at all. You're not going to see that in my judgment.
And you wonder if the NCAA said, you can do whatever you want, but we will not pay any attention to it if the practice would stop. You kind of feel for the kids who transferred in, or maybe seniors or whatever, and won't have a chance to play in the postseason. Although I guess if you transfer into a program that's been the subject of alleged transgressions, then you're rolling the dice a little bit on whether they get through the season or not.
That's true. I just think all the schools should be allowed to do a plea bargain where they come up with a deal and everybody knows. And if they want to plead guilty, great. If not, then fight it. But this is not the way to do it for anyone, not just Arizona.
Very much, Evan Mobley. 7 points, 3 rebounds so far in the game. What do you think about this league, Jay? There's only one ranked team in the Pac-12 right now. That's Oregon, ranked 17th. They lost to Colorado earlier tonight. You've got Arizona, Colorado, and UCLA, all of whom received votes, not in the top 25, but received some votes in the poll this week. Can this league manage to get, 4 teams in the NCAA tournament? How many? Maybe 5? How deep do you think this league can be?
Well, if Arizona were eligible, they'd get more than that. Yeah, I think 5, 6. If you count Arizona as one of those teams that would be qualified. I mean, I think Arizona and USC they will both be ranked teams. I think Colorado will be ranked. I think the league is wide open. Wide open. There are a lot of good teams. I don't think we've got many great teams in the league. So do I see a Final Four team? It's possible. There's talent enough for it, but you got some young teams that are going to need to develop. And then with Chris Smith injured for UCLA, that was a huge blow for the Bruins. They're still going to be good, but they won't be. You can't be as good without a player as good as Smith.
Looking forward to watching UCLA and Arizona State a little bit later on tonight on ESPN. You saw some bracketology there from Joe Lunardi, and a little early January bracketology. At the moment, he would have 4 teams from the Pac-12 in the field.
Yeah, the guys in the studio, I don't know what they're going to debate about Conference of Champions, because if Bill Walton finds out about that, you're going to debate the Conference of Champions? I'll beat you with a saguaro cactus when I get back.
Terrell Brown Jr., like a running back, finding a seam, couldn't finish it, but again, Arizona dominant on the offensive glass. Tubelis again.
Tubelis went after the ball with both hands, kept it high once he got control of it. And man, is Tubelis a good player. Hedges out on that ball screen. He's got a lot of game.
7 offensive rebounds for Arizona, none for USC.
Arizona's just been stronger. To Danny Manning's point about, a stronger core, stronger base, basically. There's been an element where Arizona's kind of pushed USC around a little bit on the glass. 2-3 zone again for USC.
Brown inside to Bellis for 2 more.
That is one ball-friendly big guy. He's got a good skills, and he's played high-level basketball overseas, but he can shoot it, he can deck it. Really impressed with them. One of the top offensive rebounders. He's Arizona's top offensive rebounder, but one of the top offensive rebounders in the Pac-12.
17 points already for the freshman, Azuolas Tubelis. But tomorrow, the Clippers and the Warriors meet again. The Clippers winning last night. They kept Steph Curry in check. They'll meet again tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. And then what a great few days we got coming for you. The Ravens and the Titans Sunday at 1 Eastern in an NFL wildcard game. And then, of course, Alabama and Ohio State in the CFP National Championship game Monday night at 8 o'clock.
That could cause some fights at my house. Monday night is usually bachelorette or bachelor evening. Oh, so the remote control, it could be quite a wrestling match for that.
Can you DVR one or the other? And I think which would be obvious, and watch it Tuesday morning, say? Or?
Yeah, I do not DVR sporting events. So if there's any sort of DVR of The Bachelorette, or it's now The Bachelor. And The Bachelor went to Wake Forest, oddly enough.
Oh, so your son went to Wake, so, you know, there's a connection there. Wendy wants to watch. I don't like your chances, Jay. This is not going very well.
Yeah, well, we've got more than one TV, thankfully.
Noah Bauman with a long 2, and USC up by 3 in a game in which they trailed early by as many as 9. Brown has given Arizona some really good minutes tonight, and he'll knock down a jumper in traffic. He is not afraid to mix it up with the big guys in the paint.
Did a good job of keeping that pivot foot and then still fading away to get that shot off. Good balance.
Peterson the kick. White in the corner. It won't go. And the first half will come to a close with USC leading Arizona by 1 despite a monster first half from Azuolas Tubelis, the freshman from Lithuania, with 17 points and 7 rebounds. Time now for the halftime report along with John Crispin. USC came back, knocked down some threes, and the Trojans take a 1-point lead to the second half. Hi again, everybody. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Very glad you were along with us. And the big story of the first half, even though they're trailing by a point, is Arizona's freshman, Jay, Azuolas Tubelis.
Well, Tubelis was terrific. He had 17 points. He went 7 of 10 from the field and did a great job running the floor. His offensive rebounding, outstanding. Just had a great half. But I think USC's got to feel pretty good about the way things went in the first half. They can clean up the glass and do a better job of keeping Arizona from getting second shots. USC really did a good job on Jamal Baker and James Akinjo. Those two combined for 1 of 11 from the field. And those are the 2 leading scorers for the Wildcats, and Akinjo averaging, 16, 17 points a game.
Arizona, one of the best rebounding teams in the nation, and they're +9 on the glass in this game. 7 offensive rebounds to none for USC, but turnovers, 3-point shooting. That helped USC get back into it, so very tight here heading to the start of the second half.
And Arizona's got to find
Tubelis with a 3.
Well, he's just showing every facet of the game in this one, but Arizona's got to find a way to get Akinjo and Baker to get some scores. Baker can get hot in a hurry, as he's shown, but they got to find him some shots. I think the length of USC has bothered both of them a little bit.
And now a deflection, and it winds up in a turnover, and back come the Wildcats again. Akinjo's going to get a look here.
Had to have got Jordan Brown there.
Yeah. Jordan Brown was limited at times in the first half after picking up a couple of fouls. What'd you think of Evan Mobley's first half for USC?
Solid, but I still think he can get more opportunities. He tends to float a little bit between the perimeter and the post, but I think he's got the ability to be more assertive. But he's so unselfish, and that's one of the great things about him. He doesn't force anything. He's a teammate that's easy to play with.
And that foul went on his brother, Isaiah Mobley, and that's the 3rd on Isaiah. And he's gone to the bench here early in the second half. Chavez Goodwin, the transfer from Wofford, has come into the game here early in the second half for the Trojans.
But Drew Peterson's done a really nice job on Akinjo with that length on him. He's really bothered him. And then Isaiah White is taking Baker. And that size, length, and athleticism, I think, has really been a difficult thing for those two to have to go against USC.
Mobley, no, but following up on the glass is Goodwin for the bucket of the foul.
Is that the first offensive rebound bucket for USC in this ballgame?
You are correct, sir.
Unless they're going to claim that was a pass. But Chavez Goodwin is an excellent rebounder. He just doesn't seem to get the credit for it because both the Mobleys are such outstanding offensive rebounders. But Goodwin's a good finisher and does a great job of running the floor. He posts hard. Got a nice little jump hook and good feet, and he's played very well of late. He was really good in the game against Utah, I thought.
Akinjo probing. Dalen Terry got caught in the air, just had to dump the ball off so he wouldn't travel. Then he makes a great pass, and Brown slams it home.
What a terrific catch. And poised by Jordan Brown, the redshirt sophomore who transferred in from Nevada. You see just along the baseline. And as the ball went toward the baseline, a really nice pass by Terry. And just a little shot fake got Mobley to go by. And that's what we talked about in the first half. You give a shot fake, and USC's shot blockers will fly by. And that was really smart by Jordan Brown to do that.
Peterson two-man game with Mobley. Mobley elevates and scores. When he elevates, he's going to get his shot off over anybody. His second field goal of the night.
Well, Tubelis did a really nice job of picking him up on that roll, but then he gave him space. And Tubelis will learn that as he goes along. I mean, he's got so much game now, but when he learns those little things, yeah, he wouldn't have given up that shot if he'd stayed connected when he cut him off initially off that roll.
Aaron pass and a turnover, and Peterson will slam it. It was a 2-on-1, and Akinjo kind of gambled on the pass, and Peterson just went the distance.
Yeah, Peterson was really smart there. He didn't give the ball up too early, just kept it. And then Akinjo committed and gave Peterson exactly what he needed to know to get the shot.
How about that interior passing? Tubelis showing a little flair there with a bounce pass, and Terry comes up with a bucket.
This miscommunication by USC on their assignments. Two players went with the cutter, and that left Arizona wide open to get whatever they wanted.
Goodwin right into the chest of Tubelis, and he traveled.
When you asked a little bit earlier about Evan Mobley, Dan, one of the things that Mobley's got to do a better job of is when he goes for position, whether it's on the elbow, the block, wherever it is, he's got to be able to hold that. And he's getting pushed off his initial spot, and he winds up getting pushed a couple feet off the lane, and that's a lot different. You can get that deep post position. He can bury people.
And look at Jordan Brown using his strength advantage, just kind of backing Mobley down a couple of steps and making it an easier shot for him.
Well, that's the thing. That's that deep post position we were just talking about. He can go over that right shoulder, shoot it with the left hand. It's a mature move.
White, who had a good first half, knocks down another one. Third three of the game for Isaiah White. That's as many as he had on the season coming into this game.
Yeah, he was 3 of 12 on the season coming into the game.
Tubelis again. Have yourself a night. He's up to 22.
How did that ball get through there? I mean, the simple penetration, there was nothing but red shirts around, and all of a sudden the ball gets right through, just a needle threaded by Akinjo. He's such a good penetrator. And, you know, the knock on Akinjo when he transferred from Georgetown, people would say, well, he's a ball-dominant guard. He doesn't give the ball up. He passed the ball plenty at Georgetown. He averaged over 5 assists, and he's doing the same thing here at Arizona. I think he's third in the league in assists, behind only Tiger Campbell, UCLA, and McKinley Wright, if I remember right.
5.1 assists per game for Akinjo coming into the game tonight. Tie game at 45. USC and Arizona in Tucson.
See, look where Mobley caught it there. Like, he could have caught it right under the basket, but he settled, and he winds up taking a shot more toward the free throw line than right in front of the rim.
He knows he doesn't have the strength, so he's kind of fading away a little bit and relying on his length.
Yeah, but he's stronger than that. I agree with you and Danny Manning. He can get stronger than he is, but he's stronger than settling for the position that he's getting. He can get much better position.
Peterson down with another rebound. He's quietly got 7 rebounds and 5 assists in this game.
And his defense on Akinjo has been really good.
Stronger move there by Mobley.
And that was with the left hand, that left-handed drive. And he can go left, right. He's just got so many skills.
Tubelis feeling it and knocks it down. This is unbelievable. He's got 25 points.
He has showed everything in this one. Hasn't changed demeanor at all, and you can see why he was so coveted. He's thought to be the best European player that decided to go to college rather than to play pro ball, and he's proving that, at least showing it tonight. What a great performance by Azuolas Tubelis.
Lithuania's leading scorer and rebounder at the European U16 and U18 tournament. So in line with the credentials that Jay was just speaking of, as Jordan Brown gets another bucket, and the lead going back and forth almost every possession in Tucson right now.
When Akinjo's doing such a good job of penetrating to pass. Instead of being a scorer in this half, he's been a terrific facilitator for Arizona.
Tajidi with the ball. Kind of a quiet night for him. 2 for 5, 7 points. Goodwin. Over Tubelis and a foul.
Good call. That Tubelis fouled him with his chest. Went right into Goodwin with his chest to knock him back. And a lot of times those things aren't called because your hands are up. But that was a foul with the trunk of the chest. Really good call.
1 point lead USC. Evan Mobley with a much more assertive move here early in the second half. Banking it in with the left hand. But nobody can keep up with Azuolas Tubelis right now in Tucson.
Game with Bill Walton and Aaron Boone was in there one night. Aaron Boone was the guy that pointed out that the referee in the national championship game looked like Bob Newhart. And it went viral on Twitter.
That is a very Aaron Boone kind of thing to point out. It's our second Aaron Boone mention on the night. Again, he's the USC guy. Terry Francona, the Arizona guy. I don't know if they've got a side bet on this game, but if they do, it's a nail biter right now. Bill Walton in the house. Which is amazing because
Saguaro Cactus. I love my bike. Your name is Dan, isn't it?
by the magic of television, Bill Walton will be calling a game 8 minutes from now with Dave Pasch on ESPN, UCLA and Arizona State.
That'll be wonderful for Dave Pasch. He can rest his voice for 2 hours.
Azuolas Tubelis, number 10 in white for Arizona, the freshman with 25 points and 7 rebounds in this game. And Arizona's needed all of it. They're still down by 2. Not anymore. Mathurin with a 3 to put the Cats on top.
Boy, that was a really nice job by first Akinjo, but then the extra pass by Tubelis, who got it over to Mathurin. Mathurin's going to be a really good player. I mean, he's good now, but he's got the potential to be an outstanding player for Arizona.
And Montreal becoming kind of a real hotbed for talent in Canada. Luguentz Dort coming out of Montreal. Quincy Guerrier coming out of Montreal. Great drive by Isaiah White, who's been overshadowed a little bit by Tubelis on the other end. But White, who averages 7, has 14 tonight.
Good pass.
But unable to finish is Koloko. Good look here for Bauman, and he'll bury it.
When Noah Bauman gets his feet set, he can absolutely drill it. He transferred in from San Jose State, where he averaged over 11 a game and made 81 threes his last year playing for the Spartans. You know, half his field goals are threes coming into this, but you've got to make him put it on the deck. If he can catch it and shoot it from one spot, he's going to drill it.
And we had a double foul evidently assessed on the play. It was Tubelis and Goodwin.
Yeah, the double foul I've always felt is a cop-out, but I've had officials tell me that that it's a really useful tool for them, that they feel like it helps them manage a situation where a couple players might be. I just don't like hanging 2 fouls on players for no reason. If somebody fouled first, call a foul. But some of the officials feel differently, and then they like it as a useful tool to manage a game.
Number 3 on each player, Goodwin and Tubelis, so potentially obviously more costly to Arizona given the way that Tubelis is playing tonight, and he's gone to the bench.
Seems like a little tighter whistle right now. I didn't see 2 hands on the ball handler, which is automatic. I just saw 1, but might have been 2.
So Koloko and Lee up front for Arizona right now, Jay. So you'd think most of the scoring has to come from the perimeter right now for the Wildcats. No disrespect to those guys, but neither one of them is a big-time scorer.
Yeah, out of that out of bounds, they went to their flex action, which they do out of either out of bounds under or side out of bounds. And then Mathurin took a shot that I didn't think was the best he could have taken.
And a three-pointer at the other end. Isaiah Mobley knocks one down for USC, and all of a sudden they're back on top by 7. The fourth made three-pointer on the season for Isaiah Mobley. Well, Jay, a good sequence for the Mobley brothers, starting at the defensive end with the younger one in Evan.
Evan Mobley blocking the shot with his left hand, and not only that, getting control of it. And then Edey getting it up to his brother Isaiah, who knocks it down. Really nice sequence for the Mobley brothers.
From three-point range. And Jay and I put our heads together with the timeout and decided that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's over 50%. I didn't do good in math or English.
That's right. Arizona's shooting well, too. 8 of 14, 3 of 5 from 3 in the second half. But USC can hardly miss right now.
And this is the guy that's got to get going, is Baker. He hasn't been able to find any open shots. Agbankpalo's got him now, and he's got length on him.
Terrell Brown Jr. with a baseline jumper to make it a 5-point game.
USC has done a much better job in the second half of getting the ball in the lane and getting in the paint. There's that cross screen, and now they look high-low.
Pass deflected away, and back comes Arizona with numbers. Mathurin trying to go the distance, and he draws the foul.
Really good job by Mathurin of getting to the rim and then protecting the ball with that left shoulder. He squared up. That was really nicely done by the freshman from Montreal.
One of the most highly rated recruits in the country coming into college basketball this year. So far tonight, 3 for 8, 11 points, 5 for 5 from the line, 3 rebounds. There's been some stuff to really like. There have been a couple of shots where he actually made it tougher on himself, kind of faded away a little bit, avoided some contact. But the talent, the skill level is undeniable. And here's Mike Schmitz of ESPN, just does a terrific job evaluating college and international players for the next level, for the NBA draft. Finishing a defense A-. He's a great shot blocker. He can handle and pass too, and then shooting at B-. And I know you've watched a lot of USC this year, Jay, and I know you think very highly of Evan Mobley. It's just about getting a little bit stronger, a little bit more forceful, right?
Yeah, and learning the game more. I mean, he's just 18, 19 years old, so he's obviously going to get better. He's going to get bigger, and he's going to get stronger, and he's going to learn more. But boy, I'm so glad when I played they didn't put grades up, because if they put my grades, I would have been ineligible.
Well, there's a nice bucket by Mobley, and makes it a 6-point lead for USC. Every mock draft that I have seen, in terms of college players, anyways, leaving the international players out of it, the top 3 college players that I see in every mock draft, in some order, are Mobley, Jalen Suggs of Gonzaga, and Cade Cunningham of Oklahoma State. 3 tremendously talented young men.
Yeah, I think Cade Cunningham would have the edge as being the first pick among those. Plus Jalen Green, who went the G League path, is going to be up there as well. He could wind up being the first pick. But boy, Arizona just letting USC drive down the middle of the lane, just a ball reversal, and the lane just opened up. And Mobley able to get all the way to the rim without anybody, or excuse me, Agbankpalo able to get all the way to the rim without anybody really touching him.
Again, this was a game where early USC was down by 9. They're now up 8, so a 17-point swing in this game as we near the midway point of the second half. And Agbankpalo with the line trying to make it a 3-point play.
He's a good-looking player.
Mobley the kick. Bauman wide open.
I don't know why he hesitated.
And then it's going to be Goodwin over the back.
The best time to shoot a three is after an offensive rebound. After Mobley got that ball, got back out to Bauman, he needs to shoot that right away. He's not going to be any more open after the catch than he is right at the catch. He's got to shoot that right away.
Well, how about this, Jay? Chavez Goodwin, who came into the game because Isaiah Mobley picked up his 4th foul. Goodwin just fouled out of the game. So Goodwin done. Isaiah Mobley with 4. So yes, USC has momentum. Yes, they have the lead, but they've got some issues in the front court right now.
It just makes them a little bit smaller and takes away their depth of length. But it also puts Arizona back at the foul line where the Wildcats live. I mean, they average about 27 free throws a game.
In the top 10 of the nation in both free throw attempts, free throw makes, as Terry comes back into the game for the Cats. So Arizona is going to go a little bit smaller because USC was forced to go a little bit smaller. And the big night continues for Tubelis.
The defense that USC has played really been impressive on Akinjo and Baker. To be able to hold them down like they have in this game. I mean, those two combined are 1 of 14 and 0 of 5 from 3. It's remarkable. Amazing. Defensively on those two.
Akinjo with Agbompolo, a big guy on him, but he stays in front of him. Now Terry turns the corner, gets the shot off, but he leaves it short.
Boy, the length of USC has really bothered Arizona's guards.
Edey with a pull-up and the follow by Mobley. And now a steal by Mobley.
If I were giving him a grade on that, I'd give him an A.
And you're a notoriously tough grader as well. White inside, and it's all Trojans right now in Tucson.
They are just dominating the glass and dominating the paint. USC is getting into the paint just about whenever they want over the last 10 minutes or so. And that's been a huge difference in this game. Shot goes up. The first thing you have to do is know where Evan Mobley is and put a body on him. Sets the ball screen. Tubelis just turns to jump and go after that rebound. And Evan Mobley goes right over him and dunks it in with the left hand. That is just a big-time play. But Tubelis never turned to look. It's just a freshman mistake. And then a terrific pass along the baseline to Isaiah White, who's had a terrific game. Isaiah White leads this team in steals and does all the little things. But he's been a scorer in this game.
He is their high scorer in the game after that dunk. He's got 16 to 15 for Evan Mobley, who despite the foul trouble with Goodwin out of the game, Isaiah Mobley on the bench. It hasn't slowed them down in the last couple of minutes. And Sean Miller needs to find some answers right now for his team.
And Evan Mobley's played with a little more verve in the second half. That motor's revved a little higher, more RPMs in this game.
You know, and you know you're good when, you know, you watch him play and you go, yeah, it's been solid. He's been good. And then he's got 15 and 7 with 9 minutes still left in the game, right? You know? Yeah, he's all right. He's on his way to 20 and 10. He's doing okay. You know?
Well, that's what the really good players do. They always kind of leave you wanting more. They do well, and you're going, why can't they do more? And the guy who's done more is Tubelis. I mean, this has been a career game for a great player, and he's not done yet.
Yeah, I guarantee you this, when Mick Cronin puts together the scouting report for the UCLA-Arizona game that's coming up on Saturday, Tubelis is going to be the first name at the top of that sheet.
What do you want to bet he mispronounces it?
Yeah. Terrific drive there by Terrell Brown Jr. And a timeout on the floor. 8:21 to go. Got a good one going on in Tucson. Three Wildcats from a year ago, all of whom got drafted this past offseason. Hey, we got a great Big 12 doubleheader coming your way. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. If you haven't seen Texas, you got to. You want to talk about a guy who's going to get drafted? Greg Brown of the Longhorns. He has some special skills. They'll be taking on West Virginia in Morgantown, and then second-ranked and the undefeated Baylor Bears will be in Fort Worth to take on TCU Saturday at 3 Eastern. Big 12, nothing but great games week after week in that league.
Yeah, Greg Brown of Texas, you're right. I think he's going to be the highest draft pick, but I'll tell you what, Matt Coleman and Courtney Ramey, those guys are the difference makers for the Longhorns this year.
And they've got experienced terrific guards that Shaka Smart has.
Boy, Matherin's really impressive, isn't he? Ran the floor, and he goes hard to the basket. He's got a lot of ability. You know, played at that NBA Academy Latin America. And you had mentioned he had a great game against Washington State. Had 24 points, 11 rebounds. But he uses his left hand, and he's a lob threat, can catch and shoot, and he's got a good shooting stroke. He's shooting over 40% from 3. I just really like all the different things he can do, and just so athletic and lengthy. If I were USC, Dan, I'd get the ball to Mobley and let him go against Tubelis, because I don't think Tubelis wants to pick up a foul, and they're going 2-3 zone now. So they're trying to protect a little bit of the foul issues, maybe keep USC out of the lane where they've been living.
Yep. They got Ira Lee in the middle of that zone, and he was just called for the foul, and he didn't like the call, as you can see. Thought he had the block clean. I tell you, Isaiah White plays the game with some aggression. I mean, he means business out there. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got a motor. He attacks. And you can get into the gaps of this zone. They'll bring the wings up. It's not, Arizona's not a zone team generally. They play pack line, man-to-man, and always have under Sean Miller, even back when he was at Xavier. But they played 2-3 zone against Colorado for a portion. They played a few possessions of zone against Stanford.
The lead grows to 6 for USC despite a monster night for the freshman Azuolas Tubelis, whose previous season high was 13. He's got 29 already.
Full zone now for USC as well.
Lee kicks it back out. Still plenty of time. Brown with a floater. Got it.
But he's having a terrific game, isn't he? Terrell Brown Jr.
There's a lot of talent on both of these teams.
Yeah, and they got guys that can just ball. I mean, I'm a little surprised. I thought that Baker and Akinjo would be way more effective, but they've struggled to score. There's a trap where the ball's moving very well for USC.
And again, they're getting into the paint a lot more easily than Sean Miller would like. That time it was Tajidi.
Well, especially with a young team, when you move the ball and move the defense from side to side, you have a chance to break it down. And you're right. After the ball was reversed twice, USC got right into the paint. It was too easy. USC passed out of that initial trap, and Peterson can see right over, as can Mobley. That's just really good ball movement. And then that's just too easy to be able to drive from 25 feet and get all the way to the rim untouched. But give credit. I mean, Peterson's had a great game. I mean, his defense has been spectacular. He's got a bunch of assists. I don't know how many. He's rebounded well. He hasn't scored a bunch of points, but he's played an excellent floor game.
He's got a chance to have a rebound assist double-double tonight. He's got 8 of each.
He's coming off a double-double against Utah. He had 13 points, 11 rebounds in that one.
You know, and again, we mentioned in the first half there without Ethan Anderson, who should be back, they hope, within the next week or so, coming back off a back issue. You put him back out there, then maybe White becomes your 6th man. He hadn't been starting before the Anderson injury, and then you've got even more options if you're Andy Enfield.
And you have more stability, but it's been awfully stable with the ball in this game, especially in the second half. There were some hiccups in the first half, but right now USC has been really smart in their decisions on when to drive the ball. And I think they need to keep up with that.
Points in the paint, 22-14 in the second half, favoring USC. That time, Peterson comes up empty. Tubelis leading Arizona into the front court in transition.
You have so many different guys that can just rip and go. They grab a rebound. They don't have to make an outlet pass. They can take it themselves, and Tubelis is one of those.
Brown again challenging the length of USC, and this time they beat him.
Yeah, Peterson with the block. That was just a great play. Not only cut off the drive, but able to get off his feet and block that shot.
The gamble there by Tubelis, but everybody recovers. Mobley rolling, doesn't get a feed. Edey, the kick. They play on. Peterson gets inside. It's knocked out of bounds. Belongs to USC, but there's just 1 second on the shot clock.
I don't know if they're going to go take a look at this. Terrell Brown took a shot. He took an elbow in the jaw, and I think he was asking John Higgins, you need to go take a look at that. He elbowed me, and maybe see if that's flagrant. Watch right here. There it is. And if your elbows are more, if your arms are more up than out, and that's considered a basketball move, that would be more incidental contact.
Well, I'll tell you this, he was not in the cylinder. Sometimes we see that, they say the defender's in the cylinder, there's nothing the offensive player could do. I don't believe Brown was anywhere close to the, the imaginary cylinder of Peterson there.
Right, and Peterson leaned into him, and he caught him with his left arm. If he had caught him with the right, I think it'd be less of a chance this would be called flagrant. It used to be anything above the shoulders, it was going to be called flagrant. That's obviously changed, and you don't see that as much. So there hasn't seemed to have been as much of a pattern. Sometimes you'll look at that and you'll say, okay, well, this has got to be flagrant, and then they come out and say no foul or common foul, whatever. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this one, because this one was close to a basketball move, but I could see where an official might see that differently.
Yeah, I think there's a chance this does go as a flagrant one, given that Peterson did appear to extend his arms out a little bit, that Brown wasn't that close to him, and now the officials, John Higgins, Eric Curry, Mike Cyphers, having a conversation about the play.
I just don't like how long it takes, and there's nothing the officials can do about it. It's part of the game now, but these things take way too long. You take the crowd out of it, Dan.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
A little pandemic humor.
And it looks like it's a play on, no call. So USC ball with 1 on the shot clock. When in doubt, throw it up to the 7-footer with a great leaping ability, but they don't get anything out of it. And meanwhile, Isaiah Mobley has checked back into the game for USC with 4 fouls. We haven't seen Jordan Brown in a long time for Arizona. He's been on the bench saddled with 4 fouls. This has been the go-to guy tonight. Tubelis turns it over, though he traveled.
Jamal Baker back in the game too, and Baker has not gotten any open looks. Hadn't gotten anything in the second half for sure. And for a guy that's put up 33 in a game this year, 29 against Stanford, he had that 33 against Northern Arizona. I mean, he's got 1 bucket in this game. He's got 3 points.
Yeah, and Akinjo, as you talked about a couple of times, he hasn't scored yet. He is 0 for 7, no points, as Peterson knocks down a 3-ball. He does a little bit of everything, and the lead is back to 7.
When you're struggling scoring, it affects your defense. I just don't think there's any question about that, especially for younger players. And USC is getting just about whatever they want right now.
Tubelis misses the 3, and it's Trojans ball with 4.5 to go and a 7-point lead in Tucson. And you can see Jordan Brown heading to the scorer's table, getting ready to come back in now for Arizona.
Evan Mobley being guarded by Ira Lee, who's an older player, very experienced and strong, and Tubelis now on Isaiah Mobley.
Evan Mobley trying to create something with the shot clock running down. Turnaround will go.
He has got some talent, man. That turnaround jumper was pretty. And it may not be a shot that, Andy Enfield wants him taking a lot of. You'd rather have him going toward the basket, but that's a big-time shot.
Lee banging with Isaiah Mobley. A foul and a bucket. So Isaiah Mobley has fouled out of the game, and Lee's got a chance for a three-point play.
Just a terrific job of getting into the lane. Little up fake and step through, up and under. Really nicely done by Ira Lee, the senior from Los Angeles.
Evan Mobley out to Drew Peterson for the three, and then Mobley with a nice turnaround jumper as well. The freshman's got 17. USC leads by 7. 77-70, but Ira Lee just using that senior strength that he has and backing out a pretty strong guy as well in the sophomore Isaiah Mobley. Lee heading to the line. Mobley has fouled out of the game. Arizona needs that and more. Jay down by 7.
One-on-one in the post, one of the toughest things to guard in basketball, and Ira Lee just using that big body and his footwork to go to the line for the and one.
So Isaiah Mobley has fouled out. Chavez Goodwin has fouled out. And it's a smaller lineup right now for USC. Not small, just smaller than they normally have because of the two guys on the bench.
But they are bigger and longer on Arizona's guards, and that's been a huge impact on this game. Drew Peterson, when Isaiah White's been on, Jamal Baker, Max Akmankpalo, and the defense that he's played. I mean, I couldn't have imagined, Dan, coming into this game that Akinjo and Baker would have combined for only 3 points and a combined 1 of 16 from the field. That was unimaginable to me when I watched all their film.
Yeah, they average a combined 28 points per game this season. They've got 3 tonight.
And they're both coming off of really good performances. I mean, Akinjo against Colorado had 22, went 5 of 7 from 3. Last 3 games coming into this one, Akinjo was averaging 16 a game with 6 assists. He's got 5 or 6 in this one, 5 or 6 assists. But he was 8 of 17 from 3.
And there's a pretty good look right there for Baker, but just nothing falling right now for either one of these guards.
They're going to have to do it by getting stops. You're not going to outscore, and I mean outscore in like kind of you would out-rebound somebody. Oh, great
pass.
Cut.
Yeah.
No pressure on the passer.
Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Well, no pressure on the passer. That was just a simple, I mean, USC ran a simple, like almost UCLA cut. Just a little back screen and wide open under the bucket.
Seems kind of sacrilegious to say that USC ran a UCLA cut, doesn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't what you would call, wasn't a textbook one, but when you cut off the elbow, usually a UCLA cut's when you pass to the wing and 1-4 and cut off the elbow, but.
Well, no matter what you want to call it, it is the 9th assist of the night for Drew Peterson, who has been great.
Good pass.
Right inside. Mobley with a slam.
Just buried Akinjo down low. And that's the kind of deep post position that Evan Mobley wants to get more often. It's a heck of a lot easier to get it when you set a little screen. You set a back screen here. There's the back screen, kind of a little shuffle cut, UCLA cut, and Akmankpalo wide open, and then got caught on the switch, and Akinjo he had no chance to keep Evan Mobley from dunking that ball. He shouldn't have fouled him, just let him have it. There was nothing he could do there.
USC is now shooting 57% in the second half. They have scored 46 points in the second half.
Everything looks better when you're making shots, doesn't it? 2-3 zone now.
And Tubelis is fouled by Peterson. Got an NBA doubleheader coming your way tomorrow night. And how about this first one? It'll be the first meeting in the NBA of LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball. The Hornets and the Pelicans at 7:30 Eastern time, and then the second meeting in 3 nights between the Clippers and the Warriors. A great doubleheader Friday night on ESPN.
How about Steph Curry getting 62 the other night? Are you kidding me? I agree with our colleagues that say he's the best shooter ever. I really believe that.
Yeah, I'm doing a game with Vital a couple of nights ago, and he said that. And I said, Reggie Miller, Larry Bird, Ray Allen, and Dick said, the best I've ever seen. And he said, they would tell you he's the best they've ever seen.
I would agree.
Yeah, amazing. Inside 2 minutes to go. USC not in a rush right now, up by 8.
You want to be aggressive but still use clock, because if you're running your cuts, like now you get fouled just making a hard cut. Back when Paulo got fouled, it looked like Baker fouled him there. Just grabbed him on a cut, and you're going to shoot free throws.
1-1 for Agbong Paulo, who is 5 for 11 on the season, including a miss tonight from the free throw line.
Boy, has he had a good game. He's played some really good defense, and he's got a good-looking shooting stroke, not only from the line, but he's hit some. He hit some shots in their last game. Spotting up, knocked a three down. When he gets his feet set, he can shoot it. But he's good now. He's gonna be really good.
And again, with the Mobleys, guys like Goodwin and Agbong Paulo, these are guys coming off the bench with a lot of talent and a tremendous amount of length as well.
Yes, they're just young.
Yeah.
But to your point, when
pause, remember they went 3 weeks without playing a game. Peterson with a nice look ahead. White will slam it home. That's 20 points for White, and assuming they give Peterson an assist on that play, that'll be his 10th assist of the game.
When Arizona has beaten USC 10 times in a row at McHale, and SC in the second half has just been outstanding at both ends of the floor. But they've showed some real toughness on the offensive end to run good offense without turning the ball over and get the shot they want against a good defensive team.
They're a team to keep an eye on. They get Anderson back in a few days. The young guys get more experience. They get a few more games under their belt after the COVID pause that they had. Boy, White is everywhere tonight. Has he been opportunistic? 22 now for Isaiah White.
Well, he deserves it. He's done such a good job on the defensive end. He's been a glue guy, I would say, for USC.
Stepping into the three, but leaving it short there is Akinjo. It's been that kind of a night for the Arizona guards. And USC is going to pick up an impressive win in Tucson. White with 22, Mobley with a double, Evan Mobley with a double-double, 19 points and 11 rebounds. Drew Peterson with 10 assists and 8 rebounds, offsetting a huge night. Azuolas Tubelis couldn't do it by himself. This is a quality win, Jay, for USC.
USC almost shot 60% in this game, 75% in the second half. Just an extraordinary second half from the Trojans.
A lot to like if you are Andy Enfield. What a nice win for them in Tucson. The final score, USC 87 and Arizona 73. Keep an eye on the Trojans, and they will have another game, of course, against Arizona State coming up on the weekend. So we'll see how that goes. But a very nice win and a great team effort by the Trojans in a 14-point victory over the Wildcats. Thanks for watching. For Jay Billis, I'm Dan Schulman. We will see you again soon. Let's send it to SportsCenter right now for everything you need to know.